Yo, this is DJ Mr. Lee, rapping with NERDSoul and RockDASpot. My name is DJ Mr. Lee and I DJ. For a long time, I talked a lot of junk about hating this party or that party, or the music was whack and this, that, and the third. But you know, when I was a teenager, I was working with this organization and I had a lot to say about the person that was in charge of it and how they ran things. And one of my frat brothers at the time was just like, well, you know what, if you've got that much of an opinion about something, maybe it's time for you to do your own thing. So I was like, you know what, I never forgot that. I heard that when I was like 18, and I never forgot that. And there are moments in life where I'll say something enough times and then I'll hear that in my head. So it was like, you know what, put up or shut up, you know? So I kind of started DJing because I wanted to create the party that I always wanted to go to. You know, I wanted to, you know, that party where you're hearing every song that you forgot you love. You know what I mean? Like those songs that take you instantly to a place in your life where you're just like, I can tell you exactly where I was when that song was hot. I had a crush on this person. I was in this grade. I remember I just got back to school after Easter. I had on my new clothes. You know what I mean? Like I want to take you right back to a spot in your life and help you relive that. I want you to want to sit down because you're exhausted, but you can't, because every next song that comes on is another one where you're just like, I can't miss this. I am originally from New York, born and raised in Harlem. So Harlem, if you know Harlem, you know that there's an energy to Harlem. There's a free spirit to Harlem. I was a professional dancer for 15 years prior to me DJing. And when I decided I wanted to step away from that, I needed another way to connect with music. And DJing, that was another benefit of me DJing. It gave me another way to love music interactively. More than just going someplace and hearing whatever's played. I get to kind of take myself as well as everyone in the party on their own little journey. You know, I remember seeing this little meme that said, never trust a DJ that doesn't dance. So, you know, my thing is, if I'm rocking my whole set, like if I'm personally jamming, I like to think that everybody else would be, because I come from a place of wanting to move, and that fun feeling is evident in all Harlem dance. You know, the original style of Harlem dance that originated the entire overall feel of Harlem dance was the LB, which eventually evolved into the Harlem Shake, which evolved into the toe wop, which evolved into getting light. But at the end of the day, the overall feeling for all Harlem dance is free and fun and different. You know, you've got the overall feel, but if you have 10 people do a Harlem style dance, you're gonna have 10 different versions, because everyone puts their own little twist on it. And that's the beautiful thing about, you know, dances like that and other social dances. Everyone with a social dance, everyone can do it, but it's what you put on it that makes you good or not. You know what I mean? So that's where I come from. That's also, you know, I grew up with the block parties and all that stuff. So that's how I kind of worked my way into dancing. It was just something I like to do for fun, and then it just kind of snowballed, you know? I actually haven't been DJing for quite as long, but, you know, as some of my peers, but I'm a very, very focused individual. I put in a lot of hard work and a lot of training, a lot of practice time. Very fortunate to have some amazing mentors. DJ Epic is one of my good friends, and she looks out for me a whole lot. She taught me a lot coming in. The Jump Off Sound, you know, they've got a really diverse group of people. They've been amazing at just sharing the knowledge and the culture, and that's the thing that I love about it the most. There's not nearly as much pretentiousness and ego as you would think, you know what I mean? It's like a group of people that are just genuinely wanting to see everybody do well, and that's refreshing to be around, you know? I don't think there's too many people that can get a crowd as hype as K Capri. You know what I mean? That his voice is just kind of iconic, you know, especially me being from New York. There's no way I cannot give a shout to like Funk Flex. You know, I cannot remember a time where Funk Flex wasn't on New York radio. You know what I mean? And that's the beautiful thing about being in my age range. I was kind of there for like the bulk of when hip hop really took. You know what I mean? There are people that were there at the very, very, very pin drop beginning of it, but like, I don't know what it is to not hear hip hop on the radio. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the unique connection that I have with it. That's just who I am. That is my culture. You know, the vocabulary, the style, everything about it is just what I do, you know. And I would never claim to be a rapper, but at one point when I was a teenager and all my friends was rapping, I did that too, you know. And the only element of hip hop I haven't done is graffiti, you know. So, you know, but I think that's dope, you know, because I didn't intend to set out and do every level of hip hop, but that's just kind of where I ended up. But I think that's as a result of me growing up in the environment that I did. You know, growing up in Harlem, you know, everyone looked like me. You know what I mean? And when I walked down the street, I heard the music of my people. You know what I mean? I heard the hip hop, I heard the R&B. I grew up in a household full of jazz. Mr. Lee is not a nickname. Lee, I am a Lee. My grandfather was the original Mr. Lee. You know, so I grew up in a jazz household. And then my mother was a Motown head. You know, so I was exposed to a lot. You know, and I'm grateful for every bit of it. And, you know, when it came time to like, hey, okay, I'm a DJ now. What's my name gonna be? You know, you gotta have that conversation because, you know, you wanna stay true to who you are, but at the same time, you wanna be able to do something that's gonna have some draw to it. And, you know, some people, when I say Mr. Lee, look at me like, hey, that's kind of formal. Like, it doesn't say entertainment, you know what I mean? But right around the time I was trying to figure out what I was gonna go by, you know, I wasn't really big on the crazy nicknames and stuff like that. I'm very secure in who I am as a person. And I didn't want to stray too far away from who I was as a person. And I actually went to visit my mother on Mother's Day, and she broke out an old invitation to one of my first birthday parties. And at the bottom it said, music by Mr. Lee. And I was like, that's it. I gotta do it. Because my grandfather was my idol. And I didn't even know he DJ'd. It wasn't until I told my mother, I was like, hey mom, yeah, I'm gonna do some DJing. Oh, yeah. She was like, you know your grandfather used to DJ. What? Yeah, he used to go to this little bar up on 145th Street with his records and play every week. I thought that was amazing. And so to find that out and then to see music by Mr. Lee, I was like, that's it. That's the only name that I could ever have. And it's 100% me. For me, it's, like I said, it's another way to connect with music on a personal level. When I DJ, I try to tell my story. You know what I mean? I try to paint a picture. I try to seamlessly go from one place to another. I personally want to be knowledgeable enough about my musical catalog and the music out there that I can go from hardcore hip hop to full country in just a matter of a couple of songs, but have it be a natural feel. You know what I mean? Not a force, like, oh, he just threw some on. No, I want to be able to take you. That's actually one of the drills that some of me and my DJ friends do. You know, they're like, okay, we're here. I need you to get here. You got 5 songs to do it. You know, so we have drills like that, you know, but that's part of the fun, man. Like, it's a challenge. It's a puzzle at all times. You're constantly taking in new information. You know, you're looking at what point you are in the night. You're looking at how many people in the room. You're looking at the type of people in the room. Is it more of a corporate crowd, or is it more of a party bunch? Are they older or younger? All these things are things that you have to take into consideration when you're putting your set together, you know. And then you can kind of adapt. You know, the dynamic of the room may change, and then you want to cater to a couple of different types. So you got to find those middle range songs that blend well with one another from genre to genre. You know, like Tory Lanez, he's got a lot of stuff with the West Indian feel. So he's a great guy to transition from R&B into dancehall with. You know what I mean? Having those things to slide in and out of it. Maroon 5, they've got some tracks that got some heavy bass lines, and they fall right into some of those trap cadences, you know what I mean? So if I were to tell you that I was gonna go from Migos to Maroon 5, you might look at me like I was crazy. Or Katy Perry for that fact, you know what I mean? She's got some stuff with some heavy bass lines, but it falls into that pocket and that cadence, you know what I mean? And when you feel that blend, you're just like, okay, when you said it, I wouldn't have believed it, but now that I'm hearing it, it works, you know? And that's the fun part, where you take something that you wouldn't think would work and you find a way, you know? That's part of the challenge, and that's part of the fun of unlocking that puzzle. Before I let go, I don't care. I don't care if you're young, you're old, black, white, everybody knows before I let go. And everyone's happy to hear it at any point in time. It could be a room full of gangsters, mean mugging each other. You put on Before I Let Go, there will be a Gangsta Soul Train line. You will have a bunch of mean mugging dudes doing that. Before I let you go. They might still be trying to be tough, but you can't deny that one song. Like, even as a DJ, there aren't too many places you can switch to the next song. You know, you usually want to, you know, especially in clubs, you want to go a little rapid fire, so you keep that energy up, you keep that new excitement. But man, Before I Let Go, you cut it before a certain point, you're just disrespectful. There's certain songs you just can't cut short. They're just too epic, you know? But that's one song, like, I can't remember a time that it didn't hype me up and it didn't have everybody in the room going. Oh, I'm a huge Busta Rhymes fan. Huge. If you want to see me lose it, throw on some Busta. Like, just without fail, you know, the energy that brother has is amazing, and that's evident in how long he's been relevant in the business, you know, since Leaders of the New School. It's insane, you know, but he's still one of those go-to feature people, you know, like, you want Busta on your track, you know what I mean? You know, put Busta last, because he's gonna bring that fire every time. You know, so he definitely gets me amped. I'm a huge R&B head, ginormous Dru Hill fan. Shout out to Cisco, No, Jazz, Teo, all those cats. I worked with them for a long time. That's fam, you know what I mean? But even if I never met them or worked with them a day in my life, huge Dru Hill fans. It just so happens I get to actually, like, be friends with the people that I idolize forever. You know what? I was DJing a party, silent party. Those are a big deal now. Those are really cool. It's an experience. I was DJing a silent party. Shout out to Millennium Age, and we all had our genres, you know. And I was the new guy. I had never done one of these parties before, and it was kind of common knowledge that at a certain point, you play your genre up until a certain point, and then you kind of do what you want. I didn't get that memo. So I had it really tough, because I was doing like 80s R&B. And that's really difficult for the younger club crowd, you know what I mean? So for 4 hours, it's difficult for the younger crowd, you know what I mean? Because there's going to be a lot of slower joints in the beginning. So I was playing my stuff. I had a good vibe going. I really prepped for that one, you know, because it was so specific. I really prepped for that one. I put together an amazing playlist, and then I was looking around the room, and everybody else was just dancing in a way that made me feel like, I'm like, yo, no one's twerking to R&B. And I was like, what the hell are they doing? So I actually flipped the channels, and everybody was playing whatever the heck they wanted. And I got upset. I was like, yo, why am I the only one following the rules? you know, I was really upset. And because I felt like, because with the silent party, you're kind of battling the whole night. It's 3 different DJs on 3 different channels, and you got a room full of people, and you're always looking for your color, you know? And my color started disappearing. I was like, man, like I had my clique, like they were loyal the whole night, but you know, I wanted everybody. So I was looking at them, I was like, what are they doing? So I switched over, and they were playing all kinds of rap and trap and stuff. I was just like, okay, that's what we're doing. All right. And then I went off. I went off. I slowed that first track down, and I just jumped into, I think I jumped into like 2000 South and just went off from there. And to the point, I remember one of the other DJs looking at me like, because by the time I got to dance hall, it was a wrap, you know what I mean? And like, that's the thing that I love the most. I love jumping into different genres and really understanding what it is, and doing my homework and putting together a list that, like, if I was gonna do Afro beat, you could have just got off the plane, you know what I mean, from Africa, and come to this party for the 20-30 minutes that I'm playing that Afro beat. I want you to feel like you're home. You know, if I'm gonna do Baltimore Club, I want to do 20-30 minute set of Baltimore Club where you feel like you're back at the club in Baltimore, you know? Like, and I wanted to just be able to, you know, to take people there. So when I went into that dance hall, it was a wrap. I had the whole party, and it felt good, you know what I mean? Because it let me know that even though I was the new guy, I could hold my own. You know, and that was one of the first times where I fought and I got the crowd back. And once I stopped playing by the rules and just did me, killed it. And that was when I knew I had kind of arrived. I'm always gonna want to do more. I'm always gonna want to do better. I'm always gonna be a student. But that's when I knew I could hold my own.